All right. Big news, Ziggy. Big news here on the
Season's not over, Paul.
There is hope. There is hope. This is great. I'm very happy with the news that we have today. Kyler Murray is a Minnesota Viking. Now we all expected this to happen.
Can we get a little skull in here, Paul?
Maybe a little skull. Skull! Come on, skull! It's feeling good. Now I know you might sit back and say, why are you guys celebrating signing Kyler Murray, who has not been anything close to himself since the 2022 season? But guys, you saw what it looked like last year, right? I mean, you saw the Brosmer and McCarthy combination and what that looked like. Try and imagine you rooting for that team when Max Brosmer, and you know what? God love Max Brosmer. He seems like a nice guy. When that Seattle interception happened, it was just head in hand, like, I can't do this anymore. Last season was one of the most miserable Viking seasons of my life. And everyone knows there are a lot of miserable Minnesota Viking seasons. Today, signing Kyler, this is not by no means, right? I'm a reasonable person most of the time. By no means is this all right, we're Super Bowl bound, like we're winning the NFC North. But this to me is that we're back to competency. And it doesn't mean it's the end of JJ McCarthy. We're going to get into all of this. I think JJ McCarthy still has an opportunity to even win the starting job in the offseason, right? Is that a crazy thing that you can just win your job maybe? But what this does for the Vikings is, with Kyler there, it does bring a certain degree of competency with a very talented team that was close to a playoff spot, amazingly, last year. And I think it makes us competitive again. So we're going to get into everything. Ziggy, what's your initial reaction?
I don't know if Kyler Murray is the answer, but I'm very confident that one of Kyler Murray or JJ McCarthy is going to be good next year. And I think that the Vikings did exactly what Kevin O'Connell said he was going to do this offseason. They weren't going to give up on JJ McCarthy. They weren't going to completely cast him aside, but they were going to sign a quarterback who can compete with him. And I think compared to last year, where Daniel Jones said, I don't have a chance of starting here and bailed, if Kyler plays better, he will get the starting job. And if you're a player on the Minnesota Vikings, this has to give you some confidence that the org is serious about challenging McCarthy. If you're a fan, this has to give you some confidence that we're willing to be competitive. And honestly, Kyler Murray has gotten an incredibly bad reputation because he's been hurt and there's been some up and down play. But as recently as 2024, he was hurt a lot of last year. He put together significant stretches of borderline top 10 quarterback play. And if he's throwing to JJ McCarthy, if he's got a decent offensive line, if Addison is out there, he's throwing to Justin Jefferson, the other JJ on the team, this could actually be a potent Minnesota Vikings offense, or at least one that finishes a game with positive passing yards.
I've always been a really big fan of Kyler his entire career. I know that he's, like you said, kind of up and down for a lot of people, but I've always enjoyed watching him play. He is a special runner, right, and scrambler with the football, one of the best in the league that we've seen over the past handful of seasons since he came in the 2019 season. And I think he's a decent passer as well. Like, everything about Kyler Murray, I've always enjoyed watching. The injuries have not been good lately. For a handful of seasons now, right? He has not been anything close health-wise to when he first came.
So I don't want to say for a handful of seasons. He played a full season in 2024.
Sure, but 2023, the bookends there, 2023 and 2025, he missed most of those seasons. And that's concerning, right? He's also a smaller quarterback, and you wonder how many hits he could take going forward here. But he's still just 28 years old, and we know the talent is there. Like, it's somewhere with Kyler Murray. And, I was listening to, I saw a clip of Colin today. He said, like, looking for the next Sam Darnold, right? If you were to pick one in this free agent class for quarterbacks, and it wasn't a very good free agent class, but Kyler Murray was clearly the answer. If there was one guy you could pick from, it's not going to be Geno Smith, right? It's not going to be Kirk Cousins. Aaron Rodgers, you can have him for a season, and that's the guy that I would have picked for 1 year. But, Kyler is clearly the guy that there's probably a little bit more to him than everybody else as far as talent and the max potential. And in Minnesota, we've seen what they can do with these quarterbacks. We know Kevin O'Connell can get the best out of guys. We know that what do you need in a football team? Left tackle, right? Star receiver right now. Edge rushers. The premium positions are the positions where the Vikings are their best. And everything's there for Kyler right now. Maybe a little work on the O-line. But I really think that he's going to win the job and have a really good season.
Well, one thing, a lot of people are going to point to the fact that Kyler Murray holds on to the ball a long time.
Sure.
And that this was a problem for JJ McCarthy last year. The Kevin O'Connell offense likes that. And the difference is Kyler Murray is mobile enough that he can actually get away with doing that. So obviously it's going to be an adjustment period for him. And it's a little bit of a different offense than he ran in Arizona. And like all of that is true. But this is why I'm happy the Vikings were on top of it and were able to get him to commit March 12th. Because he's got months now to learn the playbook, to work with receivers. And I don't think the guys in the room hate JJ McCarthy. This is not going to be a situation where people aren't willing to work with Kyler because they feel loyal to their guy. Like, I think this just makes a lot of sense for the Vikings. And I'm very happy that this is the choice that we made.
Yeah, I've seen a couple people in the comments. Lived in Arizona from Edith. Lived in Arizona for years. Holds onto the ball for an average of 8 seconds, and O-line can't block that long on every play. Why do you think he never wins? Yeah, I mean, that has been a problem that he's had in his career. But it's something that, he'll probably still bring with him to Minnesota. But in Arizona, I don't think that Kyler ever had a great coaching staff with him in Arizona. I don't think he ever had really a great team around him. I know in 2022 they were 9-1 or 9-0. That team flamed out when Kyler got hurt and came back for the playoffs, and the Rams just smoked them. But Kyler, I don't think has ever really been a part of a great organization. And
a significant part of why he struggled was Kyler Murray just couldn't make mistakes and win a game. When Kyler Murray threw 2 or more interceptions, which I'm not saying is good, in his career of the Cardinals, he was 1-13. You compare this, like Lamar's 6-4, Mahomes is 8-7.
It's a great stat.
Allen is 8-14. Jared Goff is 3-5. Even Tua, right, who had a lot of those games, was 4-9. So like when Kyler made mistakes, and he did, there was nobody there to help support him. And there wasn't a run game. There wasn't an offensive line. Besides DeAndre Hopkins early on, there really wasn't a receiver. All of those things he's going to have with the Minnesota Vikings.
No, I mean, how many times could you seriously look at the Arizona Cardinals and say, all right, that's a competitive team? Like if you stripped all the quarterbacks from every team and said, pick the team you want to go to. Cardinals, I mean, how often are they in the top half of the league? Almost never. I mean, even last year, right? You have Trey McBride, but Marvin Harrison Jr. has not been what we've thought he would be. James Conner's a good running back, but he gets hurt and he's getting older now. I'm just talking about the offense. The defense was one of the worst in the league, right? I mean, that's the reason everyone got fired.
Not one of.
The worst. Yeah, Jonathan Gannon. I think it was the worst defense in the history of the Cardinals. The Cardinals are also the oldest football team in the NFL. So, like it was. I don't know if it was the absolute worst in their franchise history, but it was very damn close. You can't win there. You can't win there. And now they're in the transition phase with Mike LaFleur, right? They're going to try and get things back on the right track. But it was never a place where Kyler was going to win in the near future. Minnesota, while maybe we're not an elite organization, we're pretty close to having great ownership. I think you got one of the best coaches in the league. We'll see what we do with GM. And that made me uncomfortable when all the news broke about Kwesi not getting along with people, and it felt like a really tight organization. So maybe some stuff behind the scenes that we're just not aware of. But the Vikings, generally speaking, run a pretty clean ship. It's a pretty good organization. They're consistently competitive, right? We never win, but we're always in the picture, or at least every few years we're in the picture. And this is going to be the most talented offense Kyler has ever had by a mile. And it might get even more talented in the NFL draft if we had Jeremiah Love. So I knew this would happen. I knew that this would happen. Where, what did I say? By July, I'd convinced myself the Vikings could be pretty competitive in 2026.
Well, it's March 12th.
It's March 12th. It's March 12th, and I feel pretty good. I feel pretty good about where the Vikings stand. There's a reason Kyler was cut. There's a reason he's not the quarterback of the Cardinals next year. I can acknowledge
some of that is that Kyler Murray, nobody thinks he's worth $55 million.
Yeah.
I bet he's worth $1 million.
And that's the best part of this. The best part of the whole thing is that Kyler was the person I would have chosen out of everyone, and we got him for is that it $1 million?
1.3 million is the rookie or is the vet minimum?
Yeah, $1.3 million. There's no risk assigned to it at all. And if JJ beats him out, I think Kyler's a good player. So I think that's a good sign for JJ McCarthy. And if Kyler starts and is bad, You throw McCarthy in there and see what happens. And if he sucks too, we get a high draft pick. And it's a great QB class. So
the Minnesota Vikings never get a low draft pick when they have putrid cornerback play.
Yeah.
But look, if there was a year to have a bad draft pick, this year when everybody's saying it's the least talented class since 2013 would be it.
Yeah.
Even when we're losing, we're winning, Paul. And even when we're winning, we're losing.
Do you remember the Cardinals in 2023? I thought this was a pretty good sign for KYLER. The 2023 Cardinals going into
he missed the first half of the season because of that 22 ACL, right?
Yes, and their record was 1-8 without KYLER. 1-8. They lost to the Browns 27-0. I mean, whenever you're losing to the Browns, who was on the Browns that year? Was that? Yeah, it was Watson. That was early Watson on Cleveland. I mean, they were just getting ran out of the gym and ran off the field. KYLER comes back November 12th, and yes, it's not a magical run, but they go 3-5 to end the year. But they're pretty competitive in most of their games, and even in a couple of the losses. And I remember watching him return that season. It was just like, all right, this is the worst team in football. People are saying this is one of the worst teams we've seen. And KYLER came back, and they were competitive. He has top 10 quarterback potential. It's unlikely, right? I know people are going to hear me saying that, and they're going to jump down my throat. But he has top 10 quarterback potential. He's only 28 years old. I saw a couple people who are saying this is exactly what you were saying about Hargrave yesterday. Why should you say a guy who's older now is able to turn back the clock to what he was 3 or 4 years ago? Well, Javon Hargrave is 33. And there were some people who I also was reading comments. You're not supposed to do that, but it's, I enjoy reading the comments. That's the fun of this. I saw a few comments that were like, Paul, 33 is still old enough to be good and to have some of your peak athletic performances. No, not typically in the NFL. There are some guys, but most 33-year-olds are out of football. Like Javon Hargrave, I'm sorry. I don't think he's going to go back to 2021 form. He might be good, but I'd be shocked if Javon Hargrave had 11.5 sacks next year or 10 sacks next year. It's possible, but it's unlikely. KYLER's 28. 28 is a lot different in football years than 33. I'm excited, Ziggy.
We'd better not trade Jonathan Grenard after this.
No, you can't. Depends what you get. If you were offered a first for Grenard, would you take it?
Probably.
Yeah, like if you're offered a first, I'm probably taking that deal. But I'd feel uncomfortable because right now with the current roster as it's constructed, it feels like if KYLER has a good year, and that's a huge if again, but if KYLER has a decent year, it's hard not to see this team being pretty competitive for the NFC North. It's hard for me. It's hard for me to see that. I wouldn't even be surprised if over the next 3 years, KYLER could be better than Sam Darnold.
You have to say that would be surprising.
Surprising, yes, but I wouldn't be shocked. I'm a big believer in KYLER Murray.
Yeah, and look, we're not sitting here saying he's guaranteed to be a top 10 quarterback or whatever. But KYLER Murray has failed to put together a season that's not close to average. He's been a fine quarterback, right? Even on those bad Cardinals team, and even if he's not more than that, even if he just comes in and he's an average quarterback that has a few wow moments and a few facepalm moments, that would be such an improvement. Paul, I know you don't like me talking about this, but I'll bring it up. When we went to Lambeau Field and it was the Minnesota Vikings playing the Green Bay Packers, it was humiliating. When we were watching the Vikings on TV and Greg Olsen says, that's 16 points. 16 points might as well be 100 because this Vikings team isn't getting to 16. That's embarrassing.
It had to have been. Oh my gosh, it was hard. It was brutal to watch. 16 felt like we were down 80-0 in most games. So, do you think I'm setting myself up here, Ziggy, for just tremendous failure?
Of course you are.
You think? I feel
we do this every year.
Yeah, I don't know why I feel good. That's what it is
to be a Vikings fan. You have to set yourself up because if you don't
really
set
excited.
yourself up, well, this is the thing. If you don't set yourself up, you don't get to enjoy the magical seasons when they come, right?
I'll tell everyone in the chat right now who doesn't believe this, but I have a sixth sense for this sort of thing. I really do. I have feelings And I think I could just sense some things when it comes to sports, right? I mean, last year, the bracket of destiny came on here and every week telling you guys what was going to happen, and it happened. When Darnold came in, we ran some segments and we said, you know what? There's more to this guy. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he takes on this job. Now, I didn't sense that we were going to let him go and he'd win the Super Bowl, but I thought he could have a really good year.
JJ McCarthy, Tom Brady-esque.
Mentality. I don't waver on that. I never said skill set. And I told you the truth. My truth on JJ is I don't feel great about JJ as the starting quarterback moving forward. I hope he can be the guy moving forward, but I've never looked at JJ and felt confident that that's our franchise quarterback. I hope I'm wrong, and I want to believe in the guy. Clearly, he's a great kid, and everyone likes him. And he says all the right things. He's the perfect face of your franchise if he could just play the position.
Yeah, the only problem is your franchise QB. He is Mr. Franchise. He is not Mr. QB.
Yeah, and that's a problem. That's a problem. But this is why it works out with KYLER right now, is you don't have to just move on from JJ. You don't have to give up forever on JJ. KYLER works out. That's awesome. We've learned our lesson, right? I'm imagining if the Vikings go 14-3 next year, Kyler Murray will be on the team in 2027. There's no
question he will be.
I could be wrong. The Vikings tend to amaze. But if the Vikings go 14-3, I would bet a large sum of money Kyler Murray will be on the team. And if he's not great, JJ can kind of take half a year off, right? And eventually comes in again, maybe learns a little bit more. He had a winning record. He was 6-4 last year. Definitely improved.
Don't.
JJ definitely improved from the first few games he played to the end.
I don't want to hear about his winning record.
Look, it wasn't impressive, but when you watch the first 3 quarters of the Bears game, the Atlanta game where he got hurt, and what was the next game he came? He came back for Detroit, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, Green Bay was horrible.
Well, so hold on, you're saying he improved throughout the season. You're saying his 3 best games were at the start of the year.
No, I said the Bears game was horrible. The Atlanta game was horrible. Then he came back. He was better against Detroit. The Green Bay game was a nightmare.
The
no 2 ways about that.
The Baltimore game was a nightmare. The Chicago game was second Chicago game was a nightmare.
I thought he was playing well against the Giants before, or decent. Was it decent against the Giants? Who was the other team that he played well against? Oh, Washington. Yeah, Washington he played great against. That was one of his best games of the year.
Yeah, against the 2 worst defenses they faced.
I'd rather have him look good against bad defenses than bad.
No, fair enough.
And that's what, I mean.
But I don't want to hear that he played well against the Giants.
No, you're right.
He was 9 for 14 for 100 yards, 0 touchdowns, and an interception. Took 3 sacks.
That's when he threw the pick. It was like deflected off the first pass or something. It wasn't.
Take the interception out. 100 yards, 3 sacks, 0 touchdowns.
That was an improvement. That was an improvement.
I mean, that's the worry, right?
Yes. So give him a little bit of time and see what KYLER has. And if JJ beats him out in training camp, awesome, right? I have no problem with JJ playing. We owe KYLER Murray nothing. The Vikings don't owe him a starting job, unless if that's in the contract. But that's something that I feel like a lot of people haven't talked about. You know, just because KYLER Murray's on the team, that doesn't automatically mean he's going to be the starting quarterback. We assume he will, and I'd be very surprised if he's not. But if JJ McCarthy outduels him over the next 6 months, he could have the job, right? We want the best quarterback playing. It's a problem. The whole issue with McCarthy was we just gave him the job, and I have no idea what O'Connell saw, or Kwesi, whoever was in charge of that. Whoever made that decision clearly was just a little off in the head. So,
well, yeah, and I do want to say, like, people in the chat are saying the Vikings have no chance to win the division. We're completely doomed. We're plus 600 to win the division right now, which I'm not saying those are great odds. That works out to like 17%. But the only division that has a 4th place team with odds remotely similar to that is the NFC South. Just because it's the NFC South.
Why can't the
Vikings will be competitive for this division if KYLER Murray's any good?
Why can't the Vikings win the division?
I think they can.
No, that's what I'm asking.
One game from winning division last year with the worst quarterback playing football.
Yeah, that's why I'd ask the chat. You know, I know that Green Bay beat the crap out of them, right? In towards the end of the year in November, but they beat Detroit at home. I mean, that first six turnovers on Goff. We had -3 net passing yards. We won that game. Chicago, we had the lead before the kickoff return at the end of the game. We beat them in week 1. We beat Detroit twice last season with McCarthy. I mean, I don't see why What, were the Vikings 4-2 in division last year?
I think that sounds right.
Yeah, the last game against Green Bay definitely doesn't, shouldn't really count because they were playing their backups, but
call it 3-2. Okay.
3-2. I mean, yeah, the Vikings, I'd be really disappointed if the Vikings finish next year with like 4 or 5 wins. The team's good enough right now to be competitive. And there's always a chance that Kyler comes down as a bum, but I don't think whenever I watch Kyler, usually he's not at bum status. He's usually just acceptable when he's
I think the defense will probably be a little bit worse next year just because that's how defenses tend to go. And I think the offense is going to be significantly better. And you can't say that that's irrational when the Vikings had one of the worst offenses in football.
Yeah, and it was just terrible.
So, like, the other thing I think you have to keep in mind as a Vikings fan, if you're looking for reasons to be optimistic, is like every team in this division has question marks surrounding them. The Bears, they had a defense that was so opportunistic last year. They're not going to generate league-leading turnovers anymore. How are they going to be when the offense has to be more consistent? The Lions looked completely out of sorts last year. They have to figure that out and get their offensive line back. The Packers are losing not stars, but good contributors, and they need everybody to come back and have that offense play the way they hope it will. Like, I'm not saying, again, that I think the Vikings will win the division, but the division, you have to think that it's open. It's not like it's open and shut.
And I disagree that right here I'm seeing, you have no offensive line. I think
we have a top 5 left tackle, a top 10 right tackle, a decent enough interior.
The interior is a little bit of a concern. Like Michael Juergens, I do not want Michael Juergens. He's currently the starting center on our depth chart. Like that would be bad. Will Fries needs to have a bounce back season. Donovan Jackson, right, going into year 2. Questions on the interior.
It's better than Arizona, man.
It's much better than Arizona. But I mean, everyone has problems, right? The Lions have problems on the interior. The Packers, even Green Bay, right? You're going to have Jordan Morgan starting for the first time. You're confident in it, but still question marks.
Are they confident in it? I bet they're not. Jordan Morgan has not shown up.
Yeah, I mean, Sean Ryan's a decent center. Like the Packers have a decent line, but I don't think you look at Green Bay's offensive line and go like, all right, they're going to bully you guys. Chicago's got Tooney and Darnell Wright, but we'll see what Braxton Jones is this year.
And Tooney's what, 34? I mean, he could get hurt at any time.
So I just think when you compare offenses across the NFC North, you can argue the Vikings have the most desirable one, and I don't think that's crazy to say. I don't think it's crazy at all, and we'll see what happens in the draft. If you add Jeremiah Love to this Vikings offense, I think it is the best offense in the NFC North outside of the quarterback, right? Okay, and outside the quarterback, if you were to plug a guy in, so yeah, I mean we'll see what happens. I'm not saying that Packers fans or Bears or Lions fans should be scared or anything, but what does this do? This does add another competitor to the division, because with McCarthy, it didn't really feel like we were competitive.
The only reason the Vikings odds haven't jumped signing KYLER is because everyone assumed they were going to get KYLER.
Yeah.
Like if it was JJ McCarthy, we would have gone from like plus 2,000 to plus 600 right now.
Mm-hmm. I think anyone can win this division. My pick. So let's see. We put out a reel. Oh, I actually don't think I put it out before. Oh, what a waste of a reel. Where we predicted the NFC North, and it was. I said the Packers, then the Lions, then the Bears, then the Vikings. And I believe you said the same. I think we all said the same thing.
No. I had the Lions winning the division.
Lions. So you had Lions, Packers, Bears, Vikings?
Yes.
Does this change your mind?
What it does is so that's still going to be the prediction I stick with, but I'm less confident in that prediction than I otherwise would have been. I think adding KYLER adds a lot of variance to this division. This is the thing this is the division. Any order 1 through 4 sounds believable to me.
Yeah,
this is the only division for which that's true.
I need to completely recalibrate it. I don't know. I'm a little more down on Detroit than I was when we first made that prediction. And look, I know not a ton has happened, but Detroit's the O-line is worrying to me after seeing last season. I like Chicago. I think Chicago is going to be good.
And look, it's not impossible. Detroit's offensive line, they weren't great, but they've got some decent pieces there.
No, Detroit, it wouldn't shock me at all.
Figuring that out is not impossible, like it would have been for, say, The Raiders aren't going to have their offensive line figured out next year because they needed 5 starters. The Lions need like 2, maybe.
It is amazing that you actually can tell me any order the NFC North would finish next year, and I wouldn't be totally surprised. Would you have taken Malik or Kyler if you were making the decisions?
Kyler. So this is
let's forget money for a second, skill wise.
Let's forget money. Malik Willis has played 5 good games in his career? He's been a career backup. He's been admirable when he's been called in. But if I'm looking at their histories, I know Kyler has more of an injury history. But Kyler Murray also is a guy who's been to 2 legitimate Pro Bowls. He was Offensive Rookie of the Year. Like when he started out, until things really deteriorated in Arizona, when they gave him a decent offense and a functional defense, in 2021, he was 9-5 as a starter. In 2020, he was the only reason they were within striking distance of 500. Like Kyler Murray played 2 good seasons in the NFL at borderline top 5 level back to back. And this isn't considering that over those 2 seasons, he put up 1,300 rushing yards and 16 touchdowns either. He's played significant stretches of good football. And it's only when the Cardinals collapsed around him that things started to look bad. He got all the blame because it was convenient.
Yeah.
I'm thrilled to have Kyler.
It seems like from also people that are closer to the Cardinals we're never as concerned with the like video game stuff and the work ethic as it turned into the story it did.
The contract thing was silly, and like I don't know much about that. But all we've heard about Kyler for 4 years is he's not committed. He doesn't have love for the game. He's a slacker from anonymous sources with no specifics.
Mm-hmm.
No one can actually tell you what Kyler Murray is supposed to be doing the past 3 years that prove he doesn't care about football.
Yeah. I'm excited for him. And you know what? This is also what I'm hoping you get is a Kyler Murray with a chip on his shoulder. I don't know what that looks like.
Well, you know what Kyler
sure.
Murray was doing before he signed with the Vikings, why it took so long? He was calling teams in 2027 saying, when I dominate with the Vikings this year, keep me in mind as your quarterback for next year. I'm going to get a no tag clause, which it seems he got. He is committed to playing good football. And he knows if he looks great with the Vikings, that's $100 million hitting your bank account.
That's a massive payday. And then now we're going to, can't you see it already? You can already see the conversations in 2026, 2027 offseason where we're going like, do we want to pay Kyler $50 million? It didn't work the first time. Like, we'll get there when we get there. That would be a nice problem to have if we're talking about giving Kyler Murray a mega contract in the
people are asking this in the chat. Would you rather have Kyler or Derek Carr?
Kyler. It's not even close. It's not even close. You can list any of the quarterbacks. The only one that you really could have talked me into. The 2 that I was between were Kyler and Rodgers.
And
right?
The Aaron Rodgers experience is just its own thing.
Yeah, I mean that just would have been fun for, obviously the Packers storyline would be great. I do think Aaron has a little more juice to him for another year. We're a team that I think can lift him up as opposed to him needing to lift the team up like he has to do in Pittsburgh. But every other quarterback we ran through, right? Kyler versus Geno. The upside of Kyler is much higher to me. Geno he wasn't, maybe people have said he's worse than he is last year. But Geno was not good last season with the Raiders. Older quarterback too. Derek Carr coming off, major injuries. There's a reason that he hasn't been playing. Yeah, right.
He medically retired effectively.
And hasn't played in a couple seasons. If you haven't played in a while, I mean, that's going to have an effect on you too. Kirk, some big injuries, right? Or the Achilles injury, right? He's coming off that. And then in Atlanta, he was benched for Michael Penix. I still think Kirk played well when he came back last season, but do you want to go through that again? Who are the other quarterbacks? Who else is there? That was Tua. He hates Brian Flores. Can't play in the cold. To me, it was just never. And Mac Jones, people had brought up right at some point, even though that wasn't going to happen. I just like Kyler more than all of them. Kyler's had the highest ceiling of all those guys. Outside of Rodgers, went at his peak, and he still can get back to it. I think he's 28. He's 28. So what is he? Same age as Burrow, right? Like I feel great about this move. This was the one that I would have gone with. Let's see some of the super chats here. Big Head Ethan. Just another QB for Micah Parsons to get some practice in for the playoffs. I mean, if you can catch him, good scrambler. Kyler can scramble. Jake Adams. I love Ziggy that I feel like I can talk some smack again. Like, I feel like we can have a seat at the table again right now.
We had to.
We had to. I really do think the Vikings are at the table again in the NFC North, and gives definitely more excitement now for next season. Where I'm like, you know what? Yeah, all right. Let's see what Mike has got coming back from his injury. Jake Adams, you guys talked about how much Packers fans overreacted to signing Hargrave, and here you are celebrating KYLER. Dude, I'll say it one more time.
This is a different situation,
and you know it, Jake Adams.
I'm not sure all the Packers fans do, but it is different.
Dude, go watch the Viking-Seahawks game, guys.
Like, here's the deal. KYLER is a player entering his prime who's coming from a horrible situation. Javon Hargrave is a player entering retirement age coming from a great situation. And I know everyone's going to comment. We had people in the comments all last night saying it was the scheme. It was the scheme. It was the scheme. Hargrave even said that on Twitter. I don't know, man. Jalen Redmond figured out the scheme. We stopped playing him.
Hargrave was benched. It's completely different. I don't dislike, by the way, I don't dislike the Hargrave signing for Green Bay. I just didn't think it was like, I mean, that video got a ton of views. Like, people were really excited for it. And I'm happy that, right? I'm happy to do a show where everyone's excited. It's great.
I'm never going to tell you to be unhappy.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I'll often tell you to be unhappy about your team signing a player, but that's not a disaster signing by any means.
I am always about, if you want to have hope, I am 100% on board with people talking themselves into delusional hope. I do it every single day. And Hargrave is someone that if you use him right, put air quotes on that. You could probably have a couple decent moments as a pass rusher next year. But he deteriorated against the run. It was bad. That's why he's benched. So, you'll see. You'll see next year. If he has a bounce back with Gannon, awesome signing. All right, we're wrong. But KYLER is very, very different. The most important position in the game for a team that had the worst positional play in all of football last year. I mean, we're looking at quarterback graphics, and it's like, McCarthy wasn't even ranked in the top 32.
We were looking at quarterback graphics, and it's like, well, at least McCarthy's better than
Shador, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe Shador. A lot of people had Shador higher.
Well, I mean, no, it was at least he's better than Jamarcus Russell. That was the one thing we could be sure of, is he was better than Jamarcus. Other than that, that's where he was.
You can see, like, I mean, man, how many people do you think right now are putting little tags and marks in this video? Like, there are a lot of fans who are listening who cannot wait to come back to this. Like, no. So there's one problem. There's one problem that needs to be addressed with the Kyler Murray signing. Do I think it's the best team KYLER will ever play with? Yes. Or has played with. Do I think that he can get back to his 2022 form with us? Yes. Would that put us in a playoff position? Yes, I do think it would in the NFC North. I think they could win it.
Indubitably.
The problem is, when are the biggest games of the season typically?
Are you going to do the COD comes out in November shtick?
Mid-November, December football. GTA 6 is slated to be released on November 19th.
Oh, we're not doing this. We're not doing this. I
know he likes COD. I have to imagine that KYLER's a pretty big GTA 5. When did GTA 5 come out again?
I think it came out, but while he was still in high school.
Yeah, that's bad. 2013. That was it 13 years ago? KYLER's 15. Oh God, yeah. He was up all night playing GTA.
Well, he probably was in 2013. That was probably fine.
KYLER's probably been counting down the days to GTA 6, and that's fine.
No, I'm not going to take this KYLER Murray slander. I know there was the contract thing. I know people
it better be in our contract.
Into a meme. Whatever.
I want to see. I want to see like cannot purchase GTA until February 12th or whatever. No GTA 6. The Vikings locker room, no PlayStations, no Xboxes, no GTA.
I'm not
mention
gonna
GTA.
Disrespect KYLER Murray.
No mention of GTA.
He's locked in. He's gonna play.
No, I'm just joking. I think I always felt bad for him with the video game stuff, but it's a great meme. I mean,
they
it's
really
a great
screwed
meme.
him over by putting that in the contract and then deciding it wasn't important and taking it out.
It's a hysterical meme. You can't look. Kyler Murray, guys, was a top 10 drafted baseball player, a number 1 overall drafted football player, and I mean, just Heisman Trophy winner. You can't get there without having a good work ethic. I'm sorry, unless if Kyler Murray is the greatest athlete ever.
Which honestly, he's not that far from.
Maybe he's not far from the great, but he would be the greatest athlete ever if he accomplished both of the. It's hard enough to get drafted to any league, let alone top 10, without having a decent work ethic.
And he did it twice.
And if people that come out and they're like, yeah, this guy, all he does is play video games all day, then he's just the best athlete of all time. And you know what? I'll take that. I'll take the best athlete of all time on our team, because maybe if we get him to work hard, he'll just be unstoppable. So it's a no-lose situation for me.
Yeah, I mean, the worst case is we don't have a quarterback and the season's over. But that's where we were a couple weeks ago.
Do the Vikings have the best defense in the division? By far?
I think they have the most talented defense, but I just don't know how they're going to repeat. But with Flores coordinating it, I'd expect them to be the best, yeah.
Yeah, I think it stacks up nicely against everyone. Detroit,
Chicago has to replace everyone and look for some stability.
No, Chicago.
Green Bay is going to be healthy with Micah, but they're missing some pieces. And I don't like the cornerback situation. I don't like the rest of the D line. Detroit has been a dumpster fire for a while.
Detroit.
Again, Hutchinson's incredible.
Hutchinson's great. The safeties are amazing. You have some questions at cornerback with DJ Reed's
I'll tell you,
solid,
that Anzalone loss, we're going to look back on that and say that was a real. I know he's older, so maybe it wouldn't have been, but he was so important.
Detroit's got some players, though. Campbell was all pro. Branch is unbelievable. I love watching Branch play. Obviously, Kirby Joseph is great. Rake, we'll see what happens with Rakestraw and Arnold. Reed's solid. Detroit's got some players. The whole division has players, right? Like, you don't look at any of those defenses and go, major problem. Green Bay, right? Parsons, Cooper, McKinney's great. Cornerbacks, questionable. The Vikings have the best corners in the division?
I still think the Bears do.
In Chicago right now?
The Bears have a corner I think is really good, and no other team has a corner I think is really good.
Yeah,
like Byron Murphy is fine.
But I like Murphy, Rogers, and Pierre. I think that
Rogers was not good last year.
Would you take Johnson?
I'm taking Jalen Johnson and whoever else.
Johnson, Stevenson. They've
Kyler Gordon was also, you have to keep in mind, not bad at all.
Kobe Bryant. I forgot they got Kobe Bryant too. He's a good safety.
Yeah, I mean, the safety wise, Kobe Bryant will be.
And this isn't to say the Vikings have their problems. The Vikings have some problems on the interior. You like Redmond, but they need to get better there. We'll see what happens with Harrison Smith, but safety is an issue for the Vikings. Eric Wilson had a great year, and Blake Cashman has injury issues. So
okay, I'm sorry. We cannot. I have to respond to this in the comments. We cannot say the Minnesota Vikings lost 2 key starters on the defensive line in free agency this year.
No, we let them go.
Javon Hargrave got benched. He wasn't a starter.
We
even is the second one on the defensive line that we let go.
Allen. They're talking about Allen, Jonathan Allen.
Neither of those guys were impressive last year.
No, it was horrible. We're gonna need. We are going to need to address that big time in the draft.
Yeah, but like,
what's our draft right now? We're looking at probably safety, tackle, D tackle, or running back, right?
I still think cornerback is on the table.
Corner still on the table.
It's like if one of the corners draw, I expect our first round pick to be in the defensive backfield, whether that's safety or corner.
Teddy here said, I love the Vikings linebackers with Cashman, Van Ginkel. Yeah, you know what I always do? I always forget to put Van Ginkel as a linebacker. I don't, in my mind, like I view him as, and he is a linebacker, right? But in my mind, I always view him as an edge rusher.
Yeah, but you can put him and Ivan Pace on the field at the same time.
Yeah, no, Van Ginkel's amazing. I think Van Ginkel is great. Obviously, Grenard didn't have the numbers behind it last year, but he awesome player. We'll see if he's on the team.
Yeah. I wouldn't even be mad if the Vikings took offensive line in the first round, honestly.
No, me neither. Center, right? We need a center. I don't know if there's anyone in the first round that we'd take, but this is shaping up to be.
Trading down is an option. There's a lot the Vikings can do, but getting defensive backfield interior D line. If we can get those addressed in the draft, which you never know, that would be big.
Yeah, this division is going to be a lot of fun. It is going to be a lot of fun. Mike Witt says, "Hey guys, Packers fan here. With that defense, all you guys need was a QB. I think the North is going to be a fun division next year. Every single game is going to be fun. Yeah, and they're going to be really big, all of them. I wonder who. I have to imagine that they're going to put the Thanksgiving game with Detroit. It will be one of us, right?
Well, now there's going to be Thanksgiving Wednesday games.
Oh, really? I didn't see that.
The NFL is strongly pushing for
there will be a lot of late night live streams. Goji Man, when it comes to Arizona, I feel Kyler was more valuable than he was good, if that makes sense, and I think he could be absolutely great for Minnesota. Yeah, well, the stats I was talking about in 2023 probably support what you just said, right? Where Kyler didn't come in and he wasn't unbelievable, but they were competitive when he played, and when he didn't play, they were horrible. Last year I know there was like the soft benching with Brissett, but that the situation to me it just unraveled completely. And there's a world, right? There's absolutely a world where Kyler comes into the Vikings and just doesn't have it, and he's never able to get back to his true form. I think it's more likely he's good than bad.
So with Kyler Murray, I'll admit that the Cardinals had some problems. They were 38, 41, and 1. You know what the Cardinals were without Kyler Murray?
What?
5 and 20.
Yeah.
Like this team was not. Kyler Murray didn't take them above 500. You can fault him for that. Without Kyler Murray, they were the worst team in the NFL every year.
Yeah, pretty close to it. And again, part of that, the huge part of that was the defense last year. Brissett scored points. I mean, the Cardinals were scoring points, but the defense was just horrendous. It all also I can't remember. I don't think Kyler was hurt in that Titans game. Like, the season started in Arizona. You thought they were going to be competitive last year, and then they had one of the worst losses that you'll ever see against the Titans with the DeMercado throwing the ball into the end zone. And
yeah, I mean, look, I don't want to say the fluke things happened, but my point is just this team was mediocre with Kyler and horrible with
that game. I don't think the Cardinals go to the playoffs, right? I'm not trying to say that, but that game against Tennessee, you could feel everything shift. That's the game that there was the absurd interception where they fumbled, and I believe it was Tyler Lockett, right? He recovered that in the end. I think it was Lockett recovered the ball in the end zone for Tennessee. After Arizona picked it off, the Gannon hit DeMercado on the sideline. Like that.
After that, the entire team just gave up until it was time. I mean, they rallied for a couple weeks, right? They played the Colts close. They played the Packers close. They played they beat the Cowboys. And then they got the brakes beaten off of them by the Seahawks, and that was that.
Yeah, and Gannon came out and apologized for everything. It was just an ugly scene. I'm looking at Jackie Bones. Do the Vikings make the playoffs this season or no? And we'll get back to the Super Chats in 1 second. But Ziggy, yeah, I want to ask you right now, gun to your head, do you think the Vikings go to the playoffs?
Oh, it's so hard because I think it's going to come down to a couple of games. If I had to predict, I would say no. But I'd put the Vikings right now at like plus 220 to make the playoffs. I think they certainly have a chance.
It's tough because you almost want to put the whole North in, right? If you
leave out the entire say NFC West,
or
and
NFC
leave out
South.
the healthy Jaden Daniels Commanders.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Leave out
right.
the NFC South. Like it's the West and the North both have cases to say 3 of our teams can go.
Oh well, the North has 4. The West has 3. The South has
1,
maybe 1, maybe.
Well, 1.
Well, no, yeah, they'll get 1, yes.
Yeah,
and then,
none of those teams are playoff teams, but that's it.
And
the
then,
East has 3.
Yeah,
I don't know what the Cowboys are doing, but like honestly, the East.
I almost want to say
as good about the East, but any of them could be a wild.
No,
card team.
I even think
I'm shocked if the Giants are, or the Commanders.
Yeah,
are,
I think the Giants can even be relevant next year, but it's almost like. You expect Philly to be good, and then I would just say one of the Giants, Cowboys, or Commanders I expect to be threatening. One of them. So let's just give them 2, okay? With that right there, we're talking 10 teams, and that's assuming that the other 2 NFC East teams are not decent. That's assuming
there's no surprise good teams.
Yeah,
there's always a surprise.
That's
good
assuming
team.
the Panthers who went to the playoffs aren't maybe a little bit better. the Falcons, right? With Tua, like, could they be
The
a little bit
Bucks of
better?
all their injuries, the Saints with improving Tyler Shaw.
Yeah, like, I mean, the NFC, across the entire NFC, is it really just the Cardinals who you're like, yeah, they suck?
I'm trying to think.
I think it's just the Cardinals. Like, truly just horrible.
I think the Falcons are going to be horrible.
I don't think they're going to be terrible with Tua. Tua's not. He's not a horrible quarterback. And Bijan's great. Drake London's great. When you doubt Kyle Pitts, he's great.
The Falcons, I know they finished 8-9 this year. It was sort of like the Vikings finishing 9-8. The Falcons were not a good team last year, and I don't think they're going to be any better next year.
All right, so let's finish up the super chat, and then we'll get going here. Too evil to hope. I'm glad McCarthy, the clear future janitor, is done. Don't think he's done, but I would be shocked if KYLER is not the starting quarterback at the beginning of the year. But I don't think this does not mean they're giving up on JJ. It's just, it's close. They're almost giving up.
Did we do Chris B in the second Mike Witt super chat?
I'm getting to them right now.
Okay.
Chris B, who has a better record this year? Malik Willis or Kyler Murray? Just as a product of just as a product of the team around it. I'd be really, really disappointed if it weren't Kyler and the Vikings. If you flipped Willis and Kyler, I think I'd say Malik. Right? I just think the Vikings are a better team than the Dolphins. Would you agree with that if you flipped Malik and Kyler?
Yeah. No, I'm picking the team gap is so big.
Mike Witt, as a Packer fan, I really hope Malik balls out in Miami, but we don't know how he looks like without LaFleur. I've heard rumors of Packers bringing in Justin Fields to replace Malik as the backup. Was Richardson also rumored to Green Bay at one point, right? I saw that.
Yeah. I think Justin Fields is going to probably stay with the Jets. They've already paid him most of the money on that deal.
I mean,
and the chances that you need someone to start other than Geno this year are pretty high.
If Fields did go to the Packers, though, I feel like that's someone that they would be probably happy to have as a backup. He's done it before in Pittsburgh with Wilson. Decent record. You do like the track record of Matt LaFleur turning around a quarterback similar, right? In Malik Willis, a mobile quarterback, someone who has struggled as a passer, and what he turned into in a couple seasons in Green Bay. I think Justin Fields, if he wound up in Green Bay, and I haven't looked into any rumors or anything like that. I don't know if there are, but I do think that would be a nice fit and someone that you could get excited about as far as and you don't want him to play at any point. But if he had to come in.
The chances that Jordan Love's going to have to miss a game at this point, we have to say they're reasonably high.
Yeah, I mean, it's happened for 2 of the 3 years that he's played. Richardson also. I would you rather have Fields or Richardson as your backup quarterback? Fields, and I don't think it's really that close.
Richardson, I am not confident can come in and play okay in a must-win game. Yeah. Justin Fields, there's at least a chance.
Yeah, it's almost funny that with those guys, you feel like you're bringing them in to help them get their next contract, right? It's not about them playing in Green Bay with Jordan Love there. So who's the guy that can help you right now? Too evil to... Nope, we got him already. Goji Man. Mac Jones with the year in San Francisco is intriguing. I'd say he's intriguing, certainly.
Mac Jones was bad last year. People think he was good. He was bad. And I don't want a quarterback to get hyped up just because they were on a team that was good.
Real stinkqueen. Kyler's going to steal a lot of candy. Is that like a Lollipop Guild joke? Is that... So
I'm sure it's really funny, but I don't get it.
Andy Herman added, he created a group chat of a bunch of Packers people, a bunch of Packers reporters, podcasters. A
bunch of Packers fans, you might say.
Yes, a bunch of Packers fans in there as well. And he threw us in there. And he said during free agency, he was doing a 3 to 4 hour live stream. Anyone hop in, and a bunch of people did. It was great. Andy does a great job. All those guys do a great job. I was away, so we couldn't do anything. But I'm still in the group chat. And, I feel like literally behind enemy lines, as our show is with Andy is called. Like, I'm almost like a secret spy in there. And today I outed myself. I wrote I don't know who knows our show, who doesn't in the chat, but I just want to introduce myself. That everyone was talking. The chat's been quite active, which surprised me. And I just wrote, hey guys, just wanted to say hello. For context, Me and my buddies are Vikings fans, and our listener base is mostly Packers fans. And then I wrote, just wanted to say to all you to hang in there today. I'm sure you're having a tough time with the inevitable Kyler Murray signing coming up. To which I got a handful of Lollipop Guild pictures sent, some laugh reacts. And when we finally signed him, you know what I sent, Ziggy? I just put Thanos putting in the last Infinity Stone. It was like, and I wrote, there it is. So, wow, big super chat just coming in here from Richard Wirtz. Thank you very much. It's a very generous donation.
We always appreciate you, Richard.
As a Packers fan, I think this improves the Vikings, but I don't think it makes them contenders. Great to see everyone back, and cheers, everyone.
Contenders for what?
Yeah, that's the question,
ask.
and that would be my follow up if you send it into the chat. Contenders for what? Are we contenders for the Super Bowl? Realistically, that feels like a bit of a reach.
No, but we just put out a poll, and 80% of the voters said the Vikings won't make the playoffs.
Yeah,
we are contenders for the playoffs.
I think we're contenders for the NFC North right now.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. The Vikings are NFC North contenders. I feel very confident in that.
And we could win a home playoff game.
Yeah, they absolutely could. Anything beyond that, if the Vikings are in the NFC Championship game this year, I'd be surprised. We're not on the Seahawks tier. We're not on the Rams tier. I think we're probably in that third tier, realistically, of NFC teams. Right? You put the Packers and Bears probably in tier 2 right now. Detroit's kind of teetering in between. I think we're in tier 3, hoping to get to tier 2. That's where I would put the Vikings. Now it's interesting because while I said earlier that if you gave, do I think Kyler could be better than Sam Darnold over the next 3-4 years? Yes.
What does producer Zach just said in our chat? Kyler is a number 1 wide receiver again.
Yeah, finally. Yeah, he finally does. It's funny though, Ziggy, because I'm thinking right now, if the Vikings had Darnold, I'd probably firmly have them in tier 2 and be debating if they're a tier 1 team. So, as it stands at the moment,
I don't want to think about that.
No. As it stands at the moment, I get what I said before. Sam Darnold is a much better quarterback than Kyler Murray right now. But I wouldn't be surprised if Kyler was able to get back to a form where that's a competitive conversation again.
Yeah, and Richard, I understand we disagree, but I think the Vikings have better than a small chance of making the playoffs because they have better than a small chance of winning the division.
Yeah, I mean, last season last season's weird though because we can sit here and say the Vikings were a game out of the playoffs, but it just didn't feel like we were not a playoff team. You know what I mean? If they had snuck in, we were eliminated in week 12, 13. So even with the win streak at the end, we were playing bad teams, right? It was the Commanders. Daniels was healthy, but it was the Commanders. The Giants sucked. The Packers played their backups. Detroit, I think, just completely lost their heart. So yeah, it feels a little cheesy to be like, oh, we were one game out of the playoffs with the worst quarterbacks ever. Well, look at us now. But that is true. So a couple more super chats here as we're going through. Mike Witt again. Are you guys doing any off-season show with Andy Herman? Hope so. Really like it every time he's on. Oh yeah, we'll definitely do some more. We'll probably do one soon actually.
We did one a couple of weeks ago. We'll have one. We've been talking about doing something post free agency. We love having Andy on.
Oh yeah, it's a ton of fun. I'm sure we'll do something post free agency. Mike again. It's not flashy, but I think the Packers getting back Micah, Tucker, Zach, Tom, and Wyatt is huge. It's absolutely huge. Plus, I think Dobbs signing with the Patriots opens up an opportunity for Golden and Reed. Should be fun. Definitely right. You are absolutely right.
I totally disagree. I think it is going to be flashy when you've got all those guys on the field at the same time. Especially, let's not forget, Christian Watson should be starting week 1.
Yeah, no. I'm sorry. You are right, Ziggy, in saying that it will be flashy. So
yeah, it's going to look like the start of last season of Green Bay, I think, where they come out and just roll.
Oh, they were decimated. They were completely decimated. The team that they put on the field to begin the year, the team that everyone had the Super Bowl hopes for. I mean, that's just, you guys know it. It wasn't close by the end of the year. It never felt like they were. It never truly felt, even because Reed got hurt, right? Week 2.
Yeah,
and Watson wasn't healthy.
Year.
It never felt like you got the best punch from Green Bay, and they threw some heavy punches, but it never felt like they were, and they weren't all healthy at any point. Goji Man again. Could Austin Schlottman make an impact for the Titans? I mean,
You're signing a guy who started 5 games at center in the last 2 seasons to a $3 million deal, effectively.
Yeah, I'm not gonna
Like,
lie.
he could play.
I
He
didn't
might
even.
be fine, but like the Giants are letting this guy walk for nothing. There's a reason for that.
I didn't even. I didn't even
Great
know that
pull
they
on
signed.
Austin Schlottmann.
Yeah, it's an impressive. It's an impressive pull. I didn't even know that the Titans signed him. Uh, could he make an impact for them? I would be surprised. Cam Ward is someone that I don't think I'm a believer, but I need to. I'm excited to see, and not even excited, just intrigued to see what he is this year. Tennessee was pretty awful. Like Shuck, right now, if you redraft right now, how do you rank the rookie quarterbacks from last season? If you could pick them to be your starting quarterback this year, what do we have?
I'm still taking Cam Ward at 1 because he's way younger.
And are you taking Dart too? Still?
Yeah, I'm probably keeping them in that order.
And then Shuck?
Yeah. You could convince me to move Dart up to 1.
Could you say Shuck had... Well, towards the end of the year, though, Ward came on, didn't he?
Yeah, Cam Ward improved as the year went on, and the Titans last year, I'm confident that it's going to get a little bit better.
Shuck was playing really well toward the end of the season.
Yeah, I wonder, given that he's going to be 27 next year, like he played a lot of football in college.
Yeah.
How close to his ceiling he already is. I know Cam Ward's not that much. Like Cam Ward played a lot of football in college. Cam Ward is 23. He's 3 years younger.
It was a little bizarre last year because the quarterbacks I thought were the rookie quarterbacks were playing pretty well. But
and what people thought was a pretty weak year.
Oh no, and there was just no attention to them ever. We said is Cam Ward the most under maybe not underappreciated, but just least talked about number 1 picks we've ever seen. I mean, people right compared to Mendoza. I mean, I don't think people are talking about Mendoza a lot just because it's such a sure thing. But there was no Cam Ward hype, very little Jackson Dart hype, essentially zero Tyler Shuck hype. And they all had moments last year. When Dart came in, I thought he looked really good, but he wouldn't slide. He kept getting hurt. But he gets Malik Neighbors back, and he's going to get Scattaboo back. And we'll see if they get Cornell Tate or something. Like that Giants offense should be better. Ward came on toward the end of the year. Shuck came on toward the end of the year. And it was just very different from the Caleb and Jaden Daniels and Drake May, where like there was so much attention on those guys. And I get it, right? Chicago, premier franchise. The Patriots, premier franchise. Jaden Daniels had to surge. Bo Nix was with Sean Payton, right? Prominent head coach. JJ Penix, didn't not as much, but it was just weird seeing, right, such a big drop off in rookie hype. And this year, I'm kind of expecting it to be similar, right? After Mendoza, there's just not a lot in the rookie QB class that's getting you pumped up. So, yeah, all right, we'll wrap it up there. Is any other super chat come in, or is that about it?
I believe that's it. Yeah.
Nice. Well, I appreciate everyone for tuning in. We had a nice episode. We've gone 4 straight days right here.
Yeah, and it's after taking some time off, and this is very good for a Minnesota Vikings joy episode rather than the usual misery
look
episode.
At that. Hey, we can be happy on this show. Like, believe it or not, we can
it's
actually
easy
be
to
happy
during
the
the off season.
Well, we're kings of that, Ziggy. That's what we do all the time.
People always talk about the Bears as off-season champs. The Minnesota Vikings aren't off-season champs, but we live for the off-season.
Oh, we're off-season merchants, certainly. I mean, what did it took me 3 weeks from when I said I know I'll convince myself to actually convincing myself. It's not bad. And we knew KYLER was going to be the quarterback for at least a week here.
Nothing has changed.
Nothing has changed. I think I've actually almost completely changed my tune on KYLER. What did I say when Andy asked how many skulls? I think I gave 7.
I gave him 1 skull.
I think I gave 7. So I've been pretty optimistic about the KYLER thing this whole time now.
No, I was high on KYLER. I have to go back and watch it.
I thought you were not. Where would you give it now? How many skulls would you give it?
For next year?
Yeah.
4.
Well, are you thinking beyond that?
Beyond that, it's lower than 4.
I'm still giving it a 7 skull. And 7 to me, when you're rating something, if someone says, like, hey, how's the movie? 1 to 10, 7 is the cutoff for good. Anything beyond that, it's like, it starts to get a little shaky.
See, no, for me, the cutoff for good is like 5.5.
Oh, okay. So on a Paul scale, you might be closer to a 7.
Yeah,
or 6.
Look, I think that What do I want to say about Kyler Murray? Do I think he's going to transform the team? No. Do I think we're going to be really good next year? No. But it's making the best out of a bad situation, and there's upside there.
We can be. You can see it now.
Yeah,
you can see the line. It's like when Notre Dame would lose big games in week 2 or whatever. I remember being back in the. I mean, last year, I'd be in the dorm. And I'd be like, all right, like how do we get this path to the playoff? And you find your route. So, all right, everyone, appreciate it. Hope everyone has. Again, barring crazy news, we expected to be live today at some point, but barring any crazy news, you will probably see us again.
Oh, that's crazy news.
What? Yeah.
Tutu Atwell to the Dolphins.
Is producer Zach feeling fired up?
CJ Gardner-Johnson to the Bills.
Barring anything, what other big news do we have? Well, Kirk's not going to go anywhere anytime soon, I don't think.
If Brian Thomas Jr. or Alvin Kamara happen to get traded.
Yeah, I mean, BTJ, that's news. I don't even know if I wouldn't care about Kamara right now.
If Kamara went to the Vikings, I'd be excited.
Oh, Grenard. Grenard's a big one. If Grenard gets traded.
Grenard's not getting traded.
I don't think so. It doesn't look like Crosby's going to get traded now either.
I don't know about that. We'll see.
Yeah, they're
so
reporting.
Hard to believe he's going to come back.
I know. It's strange. And I mean, if he does, and you're a Raider fan, you're probably pretty jacked up about that, honestly. Like, I'm sure that Raiders fans can convince themselves right now that they can be competitive next year.
It's been a lot of years.
Yeah. But this is definitely the best chance that they've had, it feels like. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see. Barring any other news, I would expect us to be back with our March Madness preview episode next Tuesday. We got Ben Stevens coming on. We did it a couple of years ago with Ben, Jack's former coworker. He's great stuff. He's a really good broadcaster. And him and Jack know just so much about college basketball.
It's our favorite show of the year, I would say. Is it our best show? Yeah. Maybe not, but it's so much fun.
It's fun to do. We fill out the brackets. And again, if you had listened last year, you would have won your bracket. Like, I'm almost willing to guarantee that you would have won your bracket if you had listened last year.
And we're going to have a bracket challenge this year, no doubt.
Yes. Actually, I'll probably make that tomorrow. We'll make the bracket challenge for everyone to sign up for. So the way we do it is we have 2 bracket challenges. We have one for anyone who wants to join. It's free to enter. If you win, you get a little merch from the show. It's great. Then we'll have the members only bracket challenge, which is, a little more exclusive. I think, how many members do we have right now?
Like 120.
120. I mean, yeah. So 100.
We'll probably get 500 plus in the regular bracket. So.
Hopefully that'd be great. And then, but in the members only, right? Your competition is in all likelihood under 100 people. And the winner of that
prizes are a little better.
Winner of that prize is a little better there. So you get.
So if you want to become a channel member, it's only a couple bucks a month. You can just click. It should be somewhere near this video
on the homepage. You go to the homepage and just say join, and they might even have it in the video. You're right. But yeah, those competitions are a lot of fun, and you could look to dethrone the defending champion, which is me. We'll see you guys for the March Madness episode next Tuesday. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good one.
Later, y'all.